There are about 5,000 languages spoken in the world today. A third of all languages are spoken in Africa. Even though there are so many languages, scholars who study language group them into families based on similarities and the likelihood of common ancient languages. Looking at groups, there are about 20 that all 5,000 are characterized into. Where did all these languages come from? My name is Ken McReynolds. I'm an architect. I've been in manufacturing, and I'm currently involved with projects in Uganda. Around 3000 BC, Semitic languages were spoken in a large area of the Middle East. Some of these groups have important roles in the development of civilization, from the Babylonians and Assyrians in the east to the Hebrews and the Phoenicians in the west. In modern terms, this is the area of Iran and Iraq in the east and Israel and Lebanon in the west. Moving forward to 2000 BC, the people speaking Indo-European languages began to spread westward through Europe and northeast into Asia. They covered from the Atlantic coast and the northern shores of the Mediterranean over to a large part of India. As humans evolved from lesser animals, when did the language evolve? Animals and humans communicate with others of their own species in various ways. Some examples are body movements, like squirrels twitching their tails to signal danger, and birds squawking loudly for the same reason. Humans are unique in that they have a verbal language, which is far beyond simple sounds. Humans have also developed a written language, unlike any animal species. If humans evolved from one set of first humanoid animals somewhere in Africa, as many evolutionists think, then it logically follows that human language development would follow some pattern, also beginning in Africa. Humans evolved over a 2 million year period, with modern humans appearing about 50,000 years ago. Thus, language should also have evolved over the 2 million years, or at least the past 50,000 with the modern human race. Those who study linguistics and the origin of languages generally agree that language began suddenly less than 5,000 years ago. This is somewhere around 3000 BC. It began abruptly with one language, very much like the Semitic languages of the ancient Middle East. This makes sense, as people seem to have originated in the Middle East or the Northeast Africa. Does it seem likely that human language developed as humans evolved? Professor Noam Chomsky, speaking about Columbia University's experience with apes, stated that saying apes can acquire language because they can learn from simple signs is like saying humans can fly because they can jump. Looking at children a year or so in age, we see an amazing thing. They are born with the desire and design to learn to walk. They start to roll over, then crawl, then stand, then walk. They fall many times, but keep trying. No one teaches them. It is a built-in desire. Likewise with language. Young children learn to talk. The talking becomes specific to a particular language as they hear from parents and siblings. Parents do not formally teach language to their children. They simply talk, and the children learn it. Animals likewise learn to walk, but not to talk. It is a huge evolutionary leap to go from no language very quickly to a complex Semitic language. Those who study languages are surprised by the 20 language families, which are unrelated in origin. If language evolved as mankind did, we would see links to a common origin, a common first language. Through genetics, we see links to a common first human, somewhere in the Middle East, but not so with languages. What is the explanation? Where did the language and the multiple languages come from? Where does the evidence lead us? The Bible says that all people, except 8, were destroyed in a global flood around 2600 BC. Thus, all people on the earth today are descendants of these 8 people. These 8 people came out of the ark that saved them from the flood somewhere in the Middle East. These 8 people all had one single language, the Semitic language. Not long after the flood, the Bible records that people were spread out all over the earth, as suddenly they spoke different languages and could not understand each other. God has miraculously altered their language, which caused them to spread out, not stay together in one place. In science, we look for evidence. We do not like to refer to miracles. In some cases, though, miracles make the most logical sense in the light of the evidence. The evidence is that the timeline of people and language development closely matches history recorded in the Bible. As evolution has not recorded history, only deductions and assumptions from the evidence is possible. The deductions that are the simplest and make the most sense are those that fit with what the Bible records. It makes sense to believe the Bible timeline. From language, we have another nail for the coffin of evolution. We see evidence it appeared suddenly, about 5,000 years ago. Language did not evolve slowly over 50,000 or more years of evolution. Further, we see no biological evidence that speech ability developed in some animal forms, completing that development in humans. The Museum of Natural Science and History will contain an exhibit which further explains the origin of language and how it spread. In more detail, it will demonstrate that evolution of language did not happen. Will you help us share these truths? Donate today to see the museum built become a reality in the next few years. Go to our website to donate today.